Welcome, fellow explorers, on this pre-departure webinar to prepare you for the amazing expedition you're about to take this summer. We have over 300 people registered and I think about 220 logged in. So if you're not joining us live, welcome when you watch at a later date. The aim here is that we will talk through your expedition, also what to take and pack, what activities we will have on and off the ship, and a bit of familiarization with the ship, and also, as Lee said, answer your questions. Thank you very much, everyone that pre-sent in your questions. We have looked at those and tried to build the content of this webinar to answer those as we go through, but we will also take questions. So please do put questions in the chat, and we will have a question and answer session towards the end of the webinar. I'm thrilled to be, as always, to be joined by my good friends and colleagues, Karen from Norway and Verena from Switzerland, our Chief Scientist and Head of VP of Expedition Development. And I'm Tudor Morgan. I'm based in the UK and work as part of the operations team. But we'll get them. There'll be plenty of talking for all of us as we go through, so lots of opportunity to not just hear from me. At HX, we very much feel and hope you share, because you booked a trip with us. So you'll, if you haven't been with us before, you'll find out that we feel we have the perfect balance on our ships and our expeditions of adventure, comfort, and sustainability. And as part of that, that's a lot of our expertise. We first went to Svalbard in 1896 as our first expedition. So Svalbard, we very much feel is our home, but we have a mix of those activities as well as an incredibly comfortable ships, in this case, MS Fram and MS Spitsbergen, that are purpose-built expedition ships, very relaxed and informal, with different venues for you to be able to look out and enjoy the scenery, but also our very important science and education program, and the base to do all these incredible activities. At the core of what we do is sustainability. We are in a fossil fuel-rich industry, but we try and make a big difference with all the small parts of what we do, and also get that. So when you're on board, you'll very much witness those elements. I mentioned the two ships that those that are signed up in this webinar will be joining, that will be operating in Svalbard, MS Spitsbergen and MS Fram, very much really nice little ships that we love. Karen has spent years and years of her life on Fram, and we both, Verena and I, started our expedition careers with Hurtigruten on MS Fram, of course, now HX. On board now, a change from last year is that we are now all-inclusive. So the aim of that is that you don't have to dip your hand in your pocket for drinks unless you want something really special, but our drinks, our cocktails, our food are all inclusive. So including expedition jackets, Wi-Fi, so those type of things that you would expect to be all-inclusive are. Of course, there are some things like kayaking or premium spirits, or if you want to go shopping in our boutique, then you will have to dip your hand in your pocket, but otherwise all inclusive. Right, let's get on with it. So Svalbard for me means a lot, because I went as an 18-year-old on a 6-week expedition, and it really ignited my polar passion, and I'm still here now, still involved in the polar regions, and obviously I'm not 18 anymore. But Karen, what does Svalbard mean for you?
Well, Svalbard is the high north for me, based, being Norwegian, and the Arctic kind of manifests itself in Svalbard for me. So I've spent so many seasons up there building the product we have today as well, means that whatever we do today, I feel I have a stake in every single expedition we actually do up there, in a sense. So there is not one summer I don't go up there and kind of relive it, so to speak, although I can't be as much as I used to.
I was going to say as well, Karen, I don't know if you dropped out, but you went quiet. But of course, not just building the product, you're involved in the building.
Svalbard. Very special place. Very, very special place. Yeah.
You dropped out briefly there, but I just jumped in to say not only building the product in Svalbard, but also in the building of MS Fram and the conversion of MS Spitsbergen. So
all of it. All of it. So you have a stake in everything, so whatever we do up there, either blame me or praise me, do either or.
And the other thing, Karen, we'll talk about it later, but you're chair of IECO, which is the Association of Expedition Cruise Operators in the Arctic. So we as HX couldn't be in a better place in knowing and understanding our operations in terms of the new regulations for the industry. So, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll do.
Yeah, Verena, what does Svalbard mean for you?
It means an incredible place where you can experience a wonderful Arctic tundra landscape and witness beautiful wildlife, but it is also one of the rare places on this planet, as in Antarctica, where science is located in a very specific area. I'm talking about Ny-Ålesund, where all nations are working together for one purpose. So it is a very special place.
Yes. In many ways. Right. So the itineraries we're talking about, as I mentioned, these are all Fram and Spitsbergen. So the early season itineraries, and again, we'll talk about a bit about this when we talk about ice and circumnavigations, etc. We'll talk about this, but the early season itineraries just on the west coast and later in the season with the intention and the aims that we hope to do circumnavigations. But just a sort of a little recap on our maps from the internet, that these are the voyage maps. All our voyages this year, if you've been to Svalbard with us before, a slight difference this year is all our voyages this year include a night in Longyearbyen before your voyage. So you will get to Longyearbyen, spend a night there, and then at the morning, then you'll have some free time in Longyearbyen, lunch at the hotel, and then boarding the ship. There have been some questions and there may be a bit of confusion. There is no included night in Oslo. The only time if you have a night booking before your trip in Oslo is if you have specifically booked that. So all our voyages get you to Longyearbyen, overnight in Longyearbyen, off we go on this incredible expedition. Okay, the land of the midnight sun. Karen, tell us how much sun cream we need to take.
A lot. The point here is that the sun doesn't really set from 24th of April until 24th of August. So it means that the polar day is complete 24/7. So if the sun is up, the sun is up. If it's cloudy, it's cloudy. But it's and for some people that can be challenging for sleeping and things. But then block the light out of your cabin during night. But to sense, you're there for a week or 8-9 days, just take the opportunity and sleep when you get home or on the plane or whatever. Take the opportunity to kind of enjoy that polar day or polar 24-hour kind of light, because it's such. It's so different from what you normally experience. So I highly recommend stay out on deck during night if you can. Go back to your cabin for a couple of hours and sleep, but don't waste it. That's the thing. So it's whenever I've been, it's how it plays with your mind. You're waiting for it to get dark, and it never does. I know it never does. No, it never does. Magic. And then in terms of temperature, we've had lots of questions about temperature. This is the chart. We're looking, plus or minus 5 degrees. The wind. And Karen, again, I'm calling on you as you spent more time there than the rest of us. In terms, we've also had questions about how rough it is, seasickness. No, I mean, Svalbard, first of all, we stay very often inside fjords. So it means, and straits. So it means that open sea is relatively low, and this is a calm kind time of season. So we very, very rarely have high seas when we operate in Svalbard during the summer months. But if you're prone to seasickness, for example, just bring your Dramamine and we have also on board that we can help you with. So for seas, don't worry. This is not the Drake Passage or whoever are worried about long sea stretches. We don't cross that. No.
And I mean, the waters are protected. The temperatures plus or around freezing, and then on board. Our ships are very comfortable. Our engineers tweak the heating, but we're sort of the temperature on board is around 20 degrees Celsius, which who's good at the conversion for our North American guests?
It's around 68, 70.
68, 70, yeah, exactly.
So on board, which Verena, in terms of what our fellow explorers should take for wearing on board and thinking about life on board.
Yes. Well, we have a dress code that is relaxed and casual, so you don't need to bring the tuxedo or a tie for dinner. Just whatever makes you feel comfortable. We also recommend to have a comfortable pair of flat shoes that you can, but that do have a good grip when you go out on decks. It may be slippery depending on the weather conditions, but it is also super important to bring a lot of sun screen, like we have just heard, by the amount of light that you will get for the lips and body. And the other typical things, if you want to go for a swim on the jacuzzis, then bring your swim trousers. If you want to go to the gym, also the appropriate sports gear. But yeah.
We'll talk about binoculars in a bit. We're not going to. It's going to be always a big feature whenever we get together and talk. But Karen, going off the ship, what do we need?
Then it's layering system, because there could be wind, and the wind chill effect could give you a more of a chilled experience than you would like. So it means we like a base layer, and all three of us swear to wool. Even the Welsh have now been converted to.
We love sheep in Wales. I mean, we love wool.
Yeah, you do. And then a layer on top, which is more like. I would say either a puff jacket or a wool sweater type that Verena is sitting in right now, or otherwise. And then you have your waterproof layers on top. So it's kind of a 3-layer system. However, be ready to maybe peel off one layer when you come shoreside, but that will give you the opportunity to be warm and dry, because you're going to be in open boats. You're going to be shuttled over to landside from the main ship to land, and that's going to be an open boat. So that way you will be prepared, and hats and gloves and all of that comes without saying. And then we'll provide you with good sturdy muck boots, so that you can, because we have a relatively heavy regime for biosecurity, so that in order for not to ruin your shoes with heavy chemicals that are going to be cleaned, we provide you with very good, and I hike in them. So I mean, this is good, and they keep you dry as well.
And bearing in mind, everybody's going to be in Longyearbyen for the night before in the morning, and free time to walk around Longyearbyen. It's at 79 degrees north. What footwear do you recommend for walking around town?
Well, walking shoes that are a bit sturdy, a little bit higher than what normally sneaker shoes, so you get a good kind of solid grip around your ankles. But you don't have to go complete hiking combat shoes. That's not necessary. But a good pair of sturdy, a little bit higher than normal sneakers when you walk around in Longyearbyen, because Longyearbyen is gravel road and some asphalt, but it's you're not it's not as uncivilized as it sounds.
Yeah. And on board, of course, we will give you an expedition jacket, and also I'm feeling dry, a water bottle, like this. So you'll get those when you're on board, but make sure you're prepared for your time in Longyearbyen. Of course, the weather there can be the same as when you're out on the ship. It can be windy, it can be snowing, it can be raining. So just be prepared for that time. It's an amazing place as well. Well worth looking around. Yeah.
Same goes for Ny-Ålesund, gravel road. When you're there, so Ny-Ålesund and Longyearbyen will be more or less the same in the footwear department.
We've mentioned about seasickness, so if you are susceptible, then of course bring stuff to make sure that you're comfortable, but you will know that everybody's different. Please bring your stock of medication, usual travel regime that not airlines do sometimes mislay our bags for a period of time. So if you do have medication, then please also put a stock in your hand luggage just to make sure you're covered. We also had some questions about do you require a medical, like as if we're going to Antarctica? You don't for Svalbard, so no medical required. That is because there is a search and rescue capability in Svalbard run by the Norwegian government. So there are 2 helicopters in worst case scenario. So there is that capability, but we of course aim to be as self-sufficient as possible. We've also had questions about insects. Very, I'm right in saying, Karen, not a concern up in this far north. So mosquitoes, no. Midges, we call in the UK, no. So that's one of the really nice things.
It is.
Yeah. So no medical required, I think, is the big thing, because we have lots of questions about that. One of the things we always get, we say, what should we not forget? Don't forget your sunglasses, don't forget your sun cream, plus some other things we'll talk about. But, Verena.
But do never forget your binoculars. I mean, they can really improve your experience a lot, particularly when you consider that you will be on a platform that is far away from the coast sometimes, and you can already start spotting for wildlife, birds, whales, polar bears, hopefully from the deck of the ship. And having a good pair of binoculars will make that so much more approachable to you. So do not forget your binoculars. We are also very often asked what is the best magnification for binoculars. Our ornithologists recommend, particularly for bird watching, magnifications between 8+ to 10+, which make it not too heavy, and then your view will not tire very quickly. And the size of the lenses the recommended one would be 32 to 42 centimeters. So 8 times 32 or 8 times 42 would be good. But that being said, if you already possess a pair of binoculars which you are comfortable using, bring those, because you already know how the experience will be.
Yeah. And we often get questions, and I actually didn't see them in the free chat this time, about big birders that are really keen, have a scope. Can they bring the scope? Of course you can. If you've got something, then of course you're welcome to bring it. The one thing with the scope, if you have it on a tripod on a ship, it's a lot harder. So if you want to use it on the ship, we'd recommend a monopod. So bring having a binoculars can improve your experience and get you to see things. But things that you're happy using. Also, one of the things with Svalbard is the polar bear, and lots of questions about polar. Will we see polar bears? Will we not see polar bears? The new regulations. Karen, talk us through about the polar bear expectations. Let's get it out.
The new regulations have nothing to do with whether we see a polar bear or not. That has the exact same chance as we've always had. So that chance is exactly the same. The new regulations, however, do give the polar bear a little bit more of leeway. It means that in the time from now until 30th of June, it is a 500-meter distance. that is because the female is coming out of the denning area at this time with the little cubs. So we need to be more vigilant at this time. Then after 1st of July, it is rendered that it's not as, because the cubs are bigger, and that means that the distance will then reduce to 300 meters. I would like to emphasize that that kind of distance that now is in the regulations is the distance that we as HX have been practicing for years and years and years. We have not gone closer than this for a long time, because what we do believe, or we know from experience, is that if you go closer, the bear will run away. It will become scared. And this is exactly what the government doesn't want. It is not what we want, is to scare away the bear. So from a 300-meter distance, you will have a wonderful experience watching the polar bear, because for one reason, it doesn't run away. So for you that think that this distance is negative, it is exactly the opposite. So it enhances the experience rather than diminishes it. And this is something I'm very passionate about. I sat in the government corridors and have been working with this for more than 3 years. So this is personal to me in a sense. So I really, really hope that you all coming on board can get this great experience. So that's the whole reason.
Yeah, and we take, as an operator, we take that responsibility of going to these incredible places really seriously. So we will follow and adhere to guidelines religiously, whether it be biosecurity guidelines, wildlife disturbance distances, but we're all with the aim, with our science and education program and our activities, to give you a great experience. And one of the things, again, we get questions, and again on board, our guides, we run a perimeter landing to make sure it's safe from bears. So we have a whole procedure in scouting a landing before we put you ashore. We have our guides are trained in the use of rifles and flare guns and deterrence. If the case that something happened, then we've got things that make lots of noise to frighten away bears, but also to keep you safe. So don't be surprised that when we have those procedures and things in place which we take really seriously. In fact, at the moment, our guides that are heading to the Arctic are going through batch training in northern Norway, going through extensive. I think this year we've extended it even more, but every year we put our guides through those courses for all of our safety. So that's really important part of operations in the Arctic, which we take very seriously. The other thing we take really seriously is in New Allison, there is a radio silence zone, which is in effect from more or less 20 nautical miles away, where we can have no Wi-Fi, no GPS. So everything, we can have GPS, but no Wi-Fi, anything that transmits. So you will be asked to turn off anything that transmits on your phones, your cameras, your watches, smart watches, anything you've got that is transmitting a Bluetooth signal, a wireless signal, to turn that off, and then we will turn off the wireless network on the ship as well. And that's because there is a number of sensitive satellite communications and science research projects in New Allison. So this is a regulation, so just don't be surprised when you're asked that. But for that day, when you're in New Allison, enjoy the silence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So enjoy that.
Lots of us.
Any trip to Svalbard, of course, ice is a big feature of Svalbard, whether it be on the sea or on the land. But Verena, could you just talk us the brief difference between sea ice and glacier ice?
Very brief difference is the glacier ice comes from precipitation, so it's snow that has accumulated over years and years and is compacted and then flows into the oceans by normal gravity, breaks down, and that is what creates those amazing icebergs that will be eroded then by the water, the currents, the temperature, whatever, and form these amazing figures. Sea ice, on the contrary, is the ocean freezing when the temperatures go beyond -2 degrees Celsius. And and it will be a flat layer of ice, which is the perfect place to look for walruses, like you see in this image, and polar bears hunting for seals. So it's a big difference. And the biggest difference in this era of change is that sea ice does not change the sea level or the exactly, but the glacier sea that melts will change the level of our seas.
Very good. Yeah, but it's a really good point where your binoculars come in, scouting, looking at ice and looking for the flat sea ice flows. Often wildlife hold out there. And then when we talk about ice, Karen, this is the latest ice chart from today. And we talked earlier about start of the season, circumnavigations, the probability of doing a circumnavigation. Can you talk us a bit through about? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So so we've taken the West Coast journeys in June, where we know that circumnavigation is slightly more difficult, meaning that we have one voyage in June which does have circumnavigation. The chances of doing that at that time is actually quite okay. It could be that a small portion might have to be let out, but the Hinlopen Strait, which is between, well, if I'm just going to explain it, is between that big island, which is Spitsbergen, and the northernmost island, which is Nordaustlandet. That is a strait, plus further down with the two islands of Edgeøya and Barentsøya, where the ice concentrates at the time of June and May. And as you can see now, everything that's red is 9/10 of ice concentration. So there is no way that's good for the polar bear right now to be able to hunt on that. And everything that's dark gray is fast ice. So that means that is also a very good hunting area for the polar bear right now. So in one sense, we should be happy that, we have the ice for the polar bear, because it is diminishing, like Verena said earlier, and they need every bit they can have. But what is so wonderful about June, I think, is that you have that ice experience up in the north, or as we go to the east. So even though you might not be able to do exactly for the circumnavigation for a small part, that ice experience you get at that point of time is something that diminishes a little bit when the ice disappears and you have to travel further and further away to find the ice. So it's really, just enjoy that ice experience, because that is what makes Svalbard so special as well.
And I think, one of the things which we're all aware of, and it's obvious now when we're not on the ship, but when we're on the ship, then it's, we're in nature, we're not in a zoo. The environment is running the show. Our captains and expedition leader and the teams work their best to be in the right place at the right time, but conditions dictate what we do. And we've had some questions about, if we get polar bears in the night, will the expedition leader do an announcement? Yeah, of course. If there's something significant to see, then we're going to let you know. It's we want you to get the best out of those. But the same as the ice, we will do our best to get to the best places at the right time. It's obvious now, but when we're on board in the heat of the moment, we'll sometimes get a little bit excited. I think one of the things with Svalbard, these incredible, the variety in scenery, and the difference. And we particularly put some slides in here showing sort of more earlier season and later season. Is fantastic, and the variety in color, light, sky when you get the blue sky, and grey when you get the grey sky. But that's part of the fun. We get quite a lot. The variety of wildlife is pretty special. We've spoken about the bears. We've seen some walruses, but Verena, a little bit about the wildlife. What we can expect to see.
Well, there are other species that we may encounter. Yes, there's seals, particularly the bearded seal and the ringed seals. You may be able to see them. Of course, the very charming fox, the Arctic fox, which will probably be switching to its summer fur. You will see them probably more brownish. And you will probably also have the opportunity to see the Svalbard reindeer, which is actually endemic to Svalbard. So a bit shorter on its legs than other cousins in Norway or Finland, for example. And the walruses we have already mentioned as well. They hold more or less all around Svalbard, but more likely to see them north of Svalbard. And Karin, you mentioned the other day that over the time now we only used to see males mostly, and now females come and hold with the males as well. So yeah, it hopefully will be a fantastic experience. And of course, whales are also to be seen around Svalbard.
Yeah, and this reindeer isn't injured. It's losing its velvet. So it's natural. It does look, when I first saw the picture, I thought, what's going on? But of course, it's obvious. Yeah, it's losing its velvet. Yeah. And then, of course, those are the land. But what about the birds?
What about the birds? Yeah, there are 241 species that have been recorded for Svalbard, and out of those, 45 are considered to be regular breeders in Svalbard. But you will see plenty of birds like these barnacle geese, the black guillemots, the Arctic terns. You will also see northern fulmars, glaucous gulls, kittiwakes, and smaller species like the snow bunting. So binoculars again are essential.
Absolutely.
And then I think, one of this short summer season, breeding season for the birds we mentioned, but also these incredible Arctic flora.
Yes, so we have an Arctic tundra here, and there are more or less 180 species of vascular plants. We have 390 species of mosses and over 700 species of both lichens and fungi. So it's not a very tall vegetation. You will have to go on your knees to enjoy it or to get the detail of it, but it is amazing. One of the most beautiful things to witness in Svalbard as well is the purple saxifrage. It's sometimes referred to as the jewel of the Arctic, to see these purple flowers everywhere on the landscape. It's just fabulous.
Yeah. And those flushes of color, really, the first time I went when I was 18, totally took me by surprise. Absolutely gorgeous.
You're so afraid of treading on it as well.
Yeah, don't tread on anything green. Take it. But then in terms of, we've talked about what we're going to see, but now we're just going to talk a little bit, Karen, about the activities, off-ship activities.
Off-ship and on-ship to a certain degree, because it's... we do polar plunge also off the ship. We do ship cruising, which I think is one of the most, rewarding experiences, to sort of see the landscape gliding by. And then when we stop, we take down our kayaks and we do nature landings. As we said, you go over in an open boat and Zodiac, and you enjoy either a guided landing or a perimeter landing. Expedition boat cruising is also something we highlight quite a lot. And as we were talking about ice, we would like to hope to take you to a kind of ice edge where you can cruise amongst ice to kind of see up close what Lorena was talking about, differences also around a glacier or around sea ice. And on-deck guiding goes along with kind of ship cruising. Those kind of blend together, where our guides will be kind of giving you the outdoor version of the educational program as well. So a lot of our guides are out on deck a lot, because we are constantly spotting when we're up in Svalbard, because you never know when the king of the north kind of shows itself, or other species.
Yeah, and that sort of on-water experience we mentioned about small boat cruising and the need to take waterproof trousers, to over trousers for that, and which again is a fantastic experience. And of course, kayaking is a chargeable extra, but an incredible experience, which you can book on board.
Yeah, and let me remind you exactly about the waterproof trousers in particular. I actually forgot to say that. But according to Norwegian law, when we are doing these Zodiac cruising, you actually need to have that on because that is part of the regulation for us to do that when we're not having a landing. So please bring your waterproof trousers so you can go Zodiac cruising, please.
Yeah. And then whilst you mentioned some of the onboard activities, but Verena, talk us through a bit about the science and education program.
Yeah, so we will offer you plenty of opportunities to learn as much as you can from Svalbard, from the environment. And for that, we have an amazing group of experts on board to cover all topics: ornithology, marine sciences, environmental sciences, geology, everything. So we will offer lectures. We will also offer hands-on activities in the science center. We will also invite you, like Karin just mentioned, out on deck to do some interpretation or look out for wildlife. So yes, it's going to be very, very much an educational journey for you. So bring your notebook as well.
And an open mind. Yeah.
And an open mind. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I think, did I jump? Sorry. I think, it was heavy-handed on the clicking.
Yes, you are. But yeah, so we not only want to educate you, but we also want you to become an ambassador or to become a citizen scientist. And therefore we have a variety of citizen science projects that we support, that you will be invited to partake. But we also offer our science boat, where we go out and introduce you to oceanography and ask for your help to collect oceanographic data that will then be shared with research institutions. We also, mostly on FRAM, will welcome guest scientists that will join your trip, and you will be able to learn directly from them what the research projects are and what the scope of these projects are in terms of conservation for the area. But if you want to participate in our citizen science projects that we support, or just want to have a record of what you observed during your trip, we do have internet on board the ship, but it's not that good. It can be patchy. Remember, you are at almost 80 degrees northern latitude. So anyway, if you want to be prepared, we recommend you to download at least these applications. eBird, which is the green QR code up there, and Merlin, which is the yellow one, are two amazing apps, particularly Merlin for people interested in birds and who want to learn more about them. Merlin allows you to identify birds even by the sound they make. So you don't even need to see the bird to identify it. It's amazing. You become addict, right, Morgan?
Yes.
Even as a geologist, you get addicted to birds. It's great.
Exactly. And then we have two projects with whales. The Orca app allows you to have or to do observations of cetaceans during your trip, and Happy Whale allows you to get an idea of what to expect. I will tell you about that in 2 seconds. Just before that, I want to introduce you to iNaturalist, which is also an amazing application where you submit your photos of everything living, plants, animals, birds, fungi, whatever, and the community in iNaturalist will help you identify what you have observed if you don't know what it is. So it's a very nice way to keep a record of all the amazing things that you will see during your trip. And if I can have the next slide, Tudor. This is just an example of what kind of whales have been observed around Svalbard last Arctic season. And as you can see, there's a number of observations which include sperm whales, humpback whales, belugas, fin whales, blue whales. So if you are curious about this, just scan the QR code for Happy Whale, go to the website and do a little research of what to expect in that area or what has been observed recently.
And the team will put in the background put a screenshot of the QR codes in the chat here, so you'll be able to download those. And also, as part of that, it's very much not to be just used on board, but you can use Merlin, iNaturalist, etc. when you're at home, including if you're walking a coast path and you see a whale, then you can also log that. In terms of preparation, then of course there's many books have been written about Svalbard, but here's a few recommendations from us, some good history, also wildlife, and if you are in Longyearbyen, then at the North Polar or the university, there's a very good bookshop as well if you want some last minute book shopping. So
Absolutely.
lots and lots of potential for reading. But yeah, please do read up. Of course, there's also lots of information on the internet. For all our voyages, regardless, even if you're Norwegian, when you board, you will need a valid passport, and you will need at least 6 months validity on your passport. So please, everybody, make sure you bring that with you. Please also check if you do need a visa. Of course, we've got guests coming from all over the world, so please check. That is a requirement that you make sure you do that. But most European and North Americans don't. But please just check. And also, as we said before, you do not need a medical before coming, but please make sure you bring your medicines with you. As part of that as well, we will put this in the chat, but as you know, because you've booked a trip with us, then these are the contact details for our main sales markets. So if you do have any further questions, then please email or phone. But now it is time. Ollie in the background, will ask him to join us. He has been fielding your questions, and I know you've been very active with asking questions. So I will stop sharing my screen and ask Ollie to join us and bring in some questions. Ollie, what are the hot topics that we haven't covered?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation there, and thank you everybody for joining. Lots and lots of questions, which is fantastic, just what we like to see. But let me have a look at some of the themes. So lots of questions around boots. That's definitely a theme. So if you could cover whether people can bring their own boots, what boots are provided on the ship, and sizing. I think those are the main questions around boots, please. I don't know who wants to take that, Karen or Judah? Yeah, Karen?
Karen, you go.
Boots, we provide you with what we call muck boots. These are high neoprene wellies in a sense, but they are much more than that. They are very sturdy, and we have sizes from children's sizes up to I think we have in European sizes it's up to 49.50, so that's US sizes. We have for everyone basically. I've never heard that we didn't have for anyone with the.
What I would say is with that, if you are concerned and you have some special foot size, special calf need, then please bring your own. But the aim is that we have footwear to avoid you doing that. But if you do have something special and you are concerned, then we're not going to stop you wearing yours. But also, as Karen mentioned earlier, we do put we take biosecurity very seriously. So we do scrub the boots after every landing, etc. But if you are concerned, then please bring your own. But we do have a big range of sizes.
And it's also because we do wet landings, because you will step into water as we exit from the boats. So for you to not come back to the ship with wet feet, this is the kind of the reason, the two reasons why we provide you with boots is for you to have a good and dry experience and a safe and biosecurity experience. So I hope that answered the questions around boots.
Well, and then I think also related to that was, pre-joining the ship, of course, guests are walking around Longyearbyen. So a comfortable pair of walking shoes or light walking boots is ample. So trainers, you could get away with trainers if you're used to wearing them, but they're a little bit light.
Yeah.
They're little, it's cold, so a pair of walking shoes is recommended. And then also, if we're doing hikes ashore and you really want to wear your own walking boots, then again, of course you can, but the bit that Karen mentioned about getting in and out of boats, because we're landing with a Zodiac everywhere, then there's that part, and we all hike in the muck boots. But if you really want to take your own, then please do.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, absolutely. But then just be aware of the regime that might sort of happen, before and after.
Like all the things we want you to do, we want you to be as comfortable as possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Perhaps Verena, when it comes to photography, is there a recommended camera lens size?
I would recommend at least 2, a wide angle and a zoom, so that you can cover everything. There are for all brands, a 24 to 70 or to 50 is good, and then a 50 to, there are even 50 to 400s now. So yeah, it also depends of what quality of image you want. If you want to have pictures that you can publish or print on a wall size, then maybe you also want to bring a sharper lens that will have a better quality.
And as part of that, on board our vessels, we have a professional photographer that will be taking daily images and sharing that as an end of voyage slideshow, which is always a magic moment, reflecting back on the trip. But also we will provide you with a voyage log. So after the voyage, you will get a web link to the photographer's photos. So we will provide some pictures as well. But of course, working those with your own memories is really special. So there's a mix, but I started laughing about, because there's a whole minefield about the which lens is best. And what I would recommend is don't buy a new camera and take it and use it in there for the first time. If you buy stuff, get used to it before. But having that range is really good advice.
I am a Nikon user, just to mention, and my favorite lens is the 70 to 120. So that's
other brands are available.
The 200, sorry, yes.
No commission.
70 to 200.
Yeah. And Karen, in terms of the activities, do we provide walking sticks, and are crampons necessary, is a question.
We do. So walking sticks is kind of part of our standard gear that we provide for everyone. So that's something that you can rely on.
And crampons and the
crampons
need for...
you don't need at this time of year. So it is walking sticks, because if you look at the picture behind me, that is kind of the landscape you will enter into. So crampons would just be in the way.
And just a sort of note on our expedition teams will take the walking sticks ashore for you, because we're aware of getting in and out of the boats is we need hands free and following the instructions of the crew. So if you do have a stick in your hand, it can get in the way, and people can get prodded in places they may not like to be prodded. So our teams will take the sticks ashore and bring them back, and they will also take care of cleaning them between them. So there will be sticks ashore as standard at the start of every landing.
Every landing.
Brilliant. I think somebody has said that on the website there's something about a shoe ice grip for the Arctic, so I think that might have caused a bit of confusion there. So it's good to clear that up, that's not necessary.
No, it's not.
No. Brilliant. I think you've covered this, but is there any need for any insect repellent? You mentioned there weren't really midges or bugs at all, but nothing.
I've never used a single insect repellent in my entire time in Svalbard. Since 2010.
Greenland, different matter. Svalbard,
Greenland, very different, but Svalbard, no.
Yeah. And there's a few questions around waterproof trousers. Are they the same as ski pants or snow pants? Karen, this is one of your favorite topics. So, and the waterproof level, exactly. and any brand recommendations and types of waterproof trousers and that sort of thing.
You don't really need a very expensive pair of ski pants to do this. But if you have a pair of ski pants, with good repellent on it, or good waterproofness on it, it's good enough because it has polar quality, so that's good. But a very simple pair of waterproof trousers is good. So all these normal brands like what you get in Europe is fine.
North Face,
North Face, yeah.
Marmot, there's endless.
But don't go away and spend a lot of money on this because it's not necessary. A lot of pretty okay mid-budget waterproof trousers will do.
And it's worth. Sorry, Tudor.
And it's for spray mostly. It's for spray without we really want to protect you so that you don't get
wet and cold.
Yeah, and we can help by supplementing your baggage with the boutique on the ship, but bearing in mind it's a small ship, so the options are limited.
But even though, because everybody's going to be in Longyearbyen the day before, there is so many high quality sports shops there.
Yes.
So if you feel that you don't have the right kind or whatever, just go into one of the shops in Longyearbyen and they will have and they will also advise you very nicely because they are used to having people coming up and going on ships. So up to you guys, but if you don't have it, you can get it in Longyearbyen.
Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. It's worth saying as well for the kayaking that we provide dry suits, right? So the waterproof trousers don't apply for kayaking.
No,
so I think somebody
was asking. Yeah, for kayaking we provide the whole kit. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Great. Karen, again, do we go up to the north to the edge of the sea ice? Is a question.
Yes, that is the plan. But the sea ice, as we say, is fluctuant. So it doesn't mean, so right now the sea ice is even lower than 80 degrees. It's on 79 actually. That could change, but we have in our itineraries built in an opportunity to go to the ice edge if the ice edge is within reach. Yes.
Great. And given the daylight hours, what's the blackout in the cabins like? Is another question in terms of being able to get the sun and get some sleep, block it out.
There are blackout blinds because again, when we operate in places that it's dark, we need to keep the light pollution going the other way to stop bird strike. So there are blackout blinds and curtains. But again, if you are really sensitive to light, then taking an eye mask can do that. But again, it depends on your sensitivity. But there are blackout blinds and curtains. Brilliant,
thank you. And probably Karen again, is there a rainy season for Svalbard?
You know what? I mean, this is sort of regarded as a desert or has been, in the past. But with climate change, we have seen that there is more rain coming to Svalbard than before because the temperature is rising. You are coming to the hotspot in the world where you see maybe climate change more evident than ever. So yes, there is more rain, but there is no more rainy season in the summer. That's more now towards May, and then it's more around October when we are when the darkness has set. So no, not at the time when we are there. No.
Great. And Verena, in terms of Happy Whale and the opportunity to see whales during the season, one of the questions is about orcas and the possibility of seeing orcas.
They are not very regular whales in the area, but there have been observations of orcas recorded. So it's not.
There's a chance.
Guaranteed. Yes, there is a chance.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Question about the boats used for the landings and getting on and off. So maybe Tudor, would you like to cover just?
So we use, and again, that's a good question because we talk about Zodiacs. Zodiacs are an inflatable boat. We take between sort of 10 and 12 people at a time. In those, there are they're more than two chambers, but in effect, two big chambers on either side that you sit on like a bench seat. Getting on and off the ship, we call it a tender platform. So you walk down steps, the crew will help you in and out of the boat, and the ability, and again, I know we get questions about fitness, the ability to help to stand up and also obviously sit down on the chambers is all that is required, and following the instructions from the crew. And then at the landing site, again, the expedition team will help you out of the boat and make sure you're safe and secure. So yeah, we have lots of team to look after you in both sides of the operation.
Yeah, and we do get the question about kind of fitness levels, and how much do you need to be going to the gym every day to be able to go on one of these expeditions? So I think that's always a good one to cover.
I think that the really important thing with all activities, not just physical ones, but again in the science centre, of course we would love everyone to do everything because we put it on, but we put a lot on, and we want you to be comfortable and enjoy it. And you all know your own limitations, whether it's be brain power, sucking in all the lectures and the practical sessions and the microscope sessions, and also the activities. So don't push yourself with the physical side, and just say if something's too much, there's not a problem. We want you to be able to enjoy it. So there's no expectation that you're going to do everything. If you want to, when we get to a landing site, if you want to get to the landing site and just take it all in at the landing site, that's absolutely fine. So it's very much up to your level.
And so much of the experience is delivered through the Zodiac, right? So as long as you can get in and out of that Zodiac,
and also
that's a really key thing.
As Karen said, very underrated, the ship's cruise, and with all this looking and seeing is really, so being aware, looking, and both ships have lots of incredible places to view and look. So our ships are built to be outward facing. So looking and enjoying the incredible environment from the ship is also magic.
Bow facing viewing points is very, very good on both ships.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say about the ships. As you've seen, we've transitioned from Herzegruten to HX expeditions, HX Herzegruten expeditions. MS Spit, and you saw in our slides, our ships are still in their old colours because none of our ships have been to Svalbard in their new colours. But MS Spitsbergen is now operating in the UK, has been through a refurb, and we have a new science centre, but also as part of that, the ship is now in our proud new HX colours. And currently, MS Fram is in dock in Panama, getting a little tickle, but also a paint job. So again, when you arrive in Longyearbyen, you should be looking for this kind of blue behind me, sand and white ship, not the old black, red and white, but they are our proud new colours of HX Expeditions.
Fantastic. Karen, a couple of questions on kayaking.
Yes.
So, question around whether you board the kayaks from a platform or from the Zodiac, and also whether it's a lottery system as it is in Antarctica for kayaking.
You board it from a Zodiac. So we take you onto a Zodiac and then you board it from there. Lottery system, we try to avoid that with Fram and Spitsbergen, in the sense that we do put people up in groups, and then we let the groups kind of rotate so that we have enough occasions so that everybody can get out. The only thing that does prevent us to take everybody out who's signed on to do kayaking is, because it's group A, B, C, D, for example, is the weather. If the weather kind of plays up with us, we might not get through all the groups, but we do very often manage to get through everyone.
Okay. Fantastic. One final question for Verena, just around photography, and is it possible to kneel down to take photos, and whether you can take a tripod, monopod for landings at all?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, you can bring a monopod or a tripod, and yes, you can kneel. We don't encourage it because of biosecurity and moving seeds and other biomaterial from one place to the other. But if you are careful and make sure to clean all the contact places on your pants, then yes, it is possible to do so, and you will have to clean the tripod or the monopod properly when coming back and put it in the insecticide solution. But yes, possible.
Makes sense. Thank you. I think we've covered most of the questions. Just one final one, I think, around the level of walking and how many hills are involved. Is it mainly flat? And yeah, what would be the kind of worst case scenario in terms of a walk length?
I think, and again, I'll ask Karen to join in, but as part of the expedition operations, then every day or every evening, the expedition team will do a short recap, but they also present the plans for the next day. And as part of those plans, they will go into the detail of activities, basically run through everything that's happening as part of plan A for the next day, based on the current forecast, based on where the ship is, et cetera, et cetera. And during those times, they will present what's happening. And that's kind of the decision-making process of what you want to do. The variety is large, depending on the sites we're going to. But is there anything, Karen, from your side to add to that?
The sites and the length you will walk is based on the site's topography, because we have to be careful in areas where we have polar bears so that we have overview of rocks and little outcrops and so forth. So we will tailor the landing site to exactly that. So safety comes first, and then sort of length come next. And you can, and I think Tudor said this, you can choose. We can make a rather large parameter. You don't have to walk more than a fraction of that parameter if you don't want to. If it's a guided walk, then you can choose to be part of all of it, but then we will shorten it down quite a bit so that it fits everybody's level. But parameter landing, you are more or less in charge within the parameter. You choose how much you walk.
Fantastic, thank you. Sorry, there's one or two more questions have cropped up.
Good.
Karen, in terms of drone usage in Svalbard, are you able to advise?
Allowed.
Okay.
That new regulations, not allowed.
No drones.
Full stop.
And we didn't allow recreational use of drones before either. That was part of an IECO decision we made many years ago. Recreational use of drone, but now drones is out completely. Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that. That's clear. And then final question, promise, probably for Karen. Are there Legionella in the water supply of Longyearbyen?
No.
Again, couldn't be clearer.
Very straightforward.
Categorically. All right, fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We're really looking forward to welcoming you on board shortly. And thank you to our panelists for fantastic discussion. One final request is that we will be having a little feedback survey pop up on your screens just when we close out this webinar. But that's everything that remains to be said for today. So thank you all once more.
Have an amazing time. It's a real special destination.
Yes. Enjoy. Oh my goodness. I hope I see you up there, actually.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Bye.
Enjoy.
Safe travels. Bye.
Bye.
And with that, we will conclude our webinar. Goodbye, everybody.